Yeah. I ain't gonna never stop, nigga. Young cat. Holla at him.
I rap for my clique. That is no lie. That's all over.
Good evening, everyone. This is the Martinez Podcast. I'm sorry for being a little late. I'm sorry about Monday Podcast. I actually deleted that podcast. I feel like the topic wasn't good enough for enough views. But the topics I talk about today, I really do feel like that's going to be good. We thank you for all your support from the last podcast about Odell Beckham Jr. We thank you for watching that podcast and listening. I thought it was a really well thought out podcast, and we thank you for listening and giving us that many views. I didn't expect that from our first podcast, essentially, on YouTube, and it did pretty good. We hope to grow from this podcast and continue to grow, and we thank you for your support. Today's podcast could be about Dominic Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie, JackRabbit, and JPP. From what I have been told, JPP may not be available for the wild card game, but he should be available afterwards. I definitely have heard that. I think he'd be available for the division round. I truly believe that. If not, the NFC Championship, he'd be available then. But I would lean towards the divisional. I do believe it. He will be there, and I have no doubt about that. To be careful, he might be available to the championship game if we get that far, which I think we could. I mean, let's be real about it. I'm confident in this defense. I'm confident in Eli Manning also. I think Eli Manning's going to get his game together. I mean, there hasn't been a quarterback as good as Eli Manning to turn it on in preseason, on the postseason. I mean, let's be real. 2007, he did it. 2011, he did it. He wasn't playing as good as he could have been. But he turned it on in the postseason. Eli Manning is known as the best postseason quarterback in NFL history. And quite frankly, I feel like we can definitely win playoff games, and I feel like we can make it to the Super Bowl. I don't see a team that could score against our defense. I mean, we have 25 touchdowns only? All year long? There's no doubt in my mind I think we can compete against the best teams in the NFC. We have already, and we have won against Dallas. The Packers got lucky because our defense was still forming together and still gelling together. Trust me. The Packers' defense is not as good as ours. And the Packers' offense, quite frankly, if we shut down a few players, they're out of the game. I mean, let's be real. Our pass rush wasn't as good as it has been the last couple weeks when we faced the Packers. But it's getting good now. And if we face the Packers with JPP back, we're going to win that ball game. Without a doubt, we will win that ball game because there's not a team that can play us. I honestly believe that if we face the Packers in a wild card round, we're beating them. No doubt. Next topic of discussion is Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. Let's be real here. I know everyone wants to talk about JackRabbit. I know everyone wants to talk about Collins. There's this one player in the secondary has been overlooked all season long, and it probably has been overlooked since he came here. His whole entire career, he's been overlooked. Yes, he had a couple bad seasons in Philadelphia. Yes, he has. But Philadelphia ain't a good environment for cornerbacks. They was misusing him, putting him in a slot when he never played slot a day of his life. Uninterruptedly, they didn't tell him he was playing slot in the offseason and put him in slot beginning of the season. You didn't let him get his rhythm in the slot. He's arguably one of the best slot quarterbacks this year in the league. Not only can he play slot, but he can play outside and cover the number one wide receiver. I mean, that man is fast. You saw that play in the Lions game? Yes, he did give up a big play. But he stopped them. He stopped them from getting the end zone, and in the next play, they fumbled the football. Hello? That's good football. That really is good football. He's playing pretty good. He's been overlooked. I honestly will say one thing. 4 of Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie's interceptions. He has had 4 interceptions all year. Each and every single one of them claiming crunch time at the last play of the game. All 4 of them has came in the fourth quarter. I believe 3 of them was game-sealing interceptions. Can you say that about another cornerback? I don't think so. This is what I'm talking about. The New York Giants has great secondary. Arguably, in my opinion, we got a better secondary than we do pass rush. That secondary is locked down. From Apple, from DRC, from JJ. I mean, even Wade. I mean, surprisingly, Wade has played pretty good. I know there's some fans out there who really has been on his case. But he hasn't played that bad. We have a good group of a secondary, and I feel like we need to keep them for next year. There's two of them that are free agents. We got to re-sign them too. Get them under contract. Because that gives us depth. Even without JJ, our secondary is playing pretty good. And we need to make sure we keep that. Because last year we had an issue where we didn't have the depth. This year, we do. We need to keep every single one in that secondary. We got to find a way. Quite frankly. Because they're the best part of our defense, is our secondary. Look who they had to face, and look who they have shut down. That pass rush is okay. I wouldn't say it's great. It's pretty good. Can they get after the quarterback? Yes. Have they? Not really. Not as good as I feel like they could be. There's no reason why Vernon. There's no reason why Vernon. I don't know why Vernon hasn't did as good as he could be. I mean, he hasn't played up to his potential. Quite frankly, I think he had a few good games where he racked up some sacks. He's a good run defender. He has played pretty good, but he's not getting the sack numbers, and that becomes a problem playoff time. We need JPP back because he's our sack maker. He opens up Vernon. He does. Let's be honest. He opens up for Vernon. He gives Vernon the ability to pass rush. Because without him, they're a double team. And they have done that. I mean, JPP commands double teams. And they're going to leave Vernon up on the other side. Even last year when JPP wasn't good, they were still double teaming him. Because they knew JPP had the speed. He could get past anyone. There's not one offensive player not one alignment that can keep up with JPP. Even with a hand last year, none of them could keep up with him. Yes, he didn't have the sack numbers, but he was creating pressure. He was creating havoc. That's why he got $10 million. I mean, that's why he got the $10 million he got, because he did do well. And we definitely need to re-sign him, without a doubt. I'm hearing JackRabbit will be available for the wild card game. I mean, he could play this week. According to what my sources, he's healthy. He's 100% right now. But the New York Football Giants said, why play him in a meaningless game? That's what I'm hearing. He will not play this week. He will play next week, but he says that he can play. Without a doubt, he could play. But there's no sense of using him, having another risky, and having him get another injury. We don't want that. We want him 100% for playoff time. Collins has played well, too. I mean, this secondary is pretty good. We thank you for listening to the Martinez Podcast. Check us out every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sundays on YouTube. Have a great day.